We thought it was all over. We thought we had won the battle. But they're back. Once again, they're trying to stop all US states from implementing any AI regulation for the next 10 years. They tried this before. They were defeated in an overwhelming and humiliating manner. So I'm surprised they have the gall, the brass neck to try this again. But they are. They're claiming that this ban is so that we don't end up in a situation in which all 50 states have their own laws on AI and it's impossible for any startups to navigate and innovation is killed. Now, perhaps this would make sense if they accompanied this attempted ban on state AI laws with a federal standard, with a nationwide standard that said, here's what you need to do, the AI companies, in order to make sure your product's safe. Here's the laws you need to comply with. Here's the institution that you need to submit your models for testing to make sure they're safe. Here are the things you need to implement to make sure you're not stealing the data of artists, to make sure you're not endangering children, make sure you're not sexualizing conversations with children, make sure you're not leading people to suicide and causing AI psychosis. The people behind this have opposed every single attempt at regulation. They want free rein to allow AI companies to do whatever the hell they want. And I'm not really sure why. I find it very difficult to understand the minds of these people, but this is what they're doing. So initially this was looking like it was going to be snuck into a defense bill at the last minute, but we've since had Trump come out and support the proposed ban on state AI regulation. We then saw a draft executive order from Trump that would challenge any states who attempt to implement AI law. Now, last time they tried this, there was a huge public backlash against it. There were so many people, whether they be politicians, whether they be journalists, whether they be creators on YouTube or other social media platforms, who at the time hadn't yet really entered the arena of debates around AI regulation. But it's clear to see to everyone, including many Republicans, that given that this technology is going to be incredibly transformative, probably the most transformative technology, at least since the Industrial Revolution, potentially of all time, we probably need some regulations to make sure it's safe. And given the federal government is slow to act on these things, and that states can come in, like we've seen in California, like we've seen in New York, can come in with their own pieces of legislation to protect their citizens, this move to ban a state AI regulation is suicidal, is silly. And we saw such a strong public backlash last time around when they tried this in the summer that all bar one of the Republicans who initially were in support of the bill then voted against it, including Ted Cruz himself, who was one of the leaders of the effort to ban state AI regulation. One incredibly interesting thing about what happened last time and what is happening this time is we're seeing a clear divide amongst Trump voters, amongst MAGA, where on one side you have basically the entire voter base, many of the political commentators and many of the politicians who are saying, yeah, we shouldn't just give free rein to AI companies to do whatever the hell they want. We need to rein them in. It's clear to see that social media has destroyed the brains of a generation, and we don't want to make the same mistakes with AI. People are already committing suicide. Kids are already failing to learn anything at school because they're just using AI to do all of their homework. We've already seen examples of really dangerous misaligned behavior from AI models. We've seen Claude blackmail, attempt to kill people in simulated scenarios. We've seen models attempt to copy their weights onto new servers to avoid being taken down. We've seen them lie and deceive in an attempt to not be shut down. This is all looking very dangerous. Most people can understand that. That's one side of the MAGA debate. The other side are the people from Silicon Valley, from big tech, who have bought their way into the Trump administration, the likes of David Sachs, the likes of Peter Thiel, some of the CEOs of the AI companies, and some Republican politicians who are on their side, who are lying through their teeth in an attempt to make out that any attempt at AI regulation is like woke nonsense and it needs to be destroyed and we need to beat China, we need to innovate. What does beating China look like when we just give over control of the world to a new super intelligent AI? How does that mean that America wins or the West wins? These people don't even think 2 steps ahead in the future. How is that winning? And this is not a fringe concern, right? The top experts in the field, Jeffrey Hinton, Yoshua Bengio, they're telling us that, yeah, we're probably not that far away from building super intelligent AI that's better than every human at everything, probably not that far away from building it. And we have no idea how to control it. We have no idea how to align it with our values. And those two people think that there's a 50% chance or greater that ends up with human extinction. This is not a fringe concern. Even the CEOs of the companies themselves have clearly stated that this is a real problem. So it bewilders me that you have politicians who are making out that this is just a run-of-the-mill normal technology. It is not. When we're training these large language models with trillions of parameters, with the entire data that's on the internet, with tens of thousands of GPUs that each cost tens of thousands of dollars in these massive data centers, we're creating these systems that we do not understand. We don't understand how they work internally. You may remember Grok started calling itself Mecha Hitler, started praising Adolf Hitler, right? XAI and Elon Musk, they don't know why that happens, right? This is just one of the crazy things that comes out of AI models with the current way that we train them, which is just throw loads of data at them, have them predict the next word for more text than any human will ever see in their lifetime. And what comes out the other end of that is just a very capable system. But we don't know how they work. We don't know how to control them. We don't know how to align them with our values. And that's going to go really badly for us. Why can the likes of David Sachs not see that? Because it doesn't matter how much money they have, all the wealth and all the power in the world may be able to protect you from most of the evils of the world, right? May be able to protect you from climate change. It might be able to protect you from nuclear war. You might be able to have a helicopter where you can fly away very quickly and go to your bunker in the desert. Maybe it can save you from that. But it's not going to be able to save you from super intelligent AI, right? It will not care about the social hierarchy of humans if it is sufficiently more advanced than we are. And if you want an example of that, when we destroy forests in order to have pastures for livestock to graze on or to have crops, we don't care about the social hierarchy of the animals that inhabit that habitat, right? We just destroy their habitat or we kill them, right? Because we're that much smarter than they are, that the tiny differences that exist between them in strength, intelligence, in social hierarchy, they don't matter to us, right? Because we can just kill them all. And that will be the same with super intelligent AI if we allow AI companies to build it in the way they currently are building it. The hubris of the people behind this is actually an advantage for ordinary people, because it's so obvious that these people don't care about ordinary people, right? You had Mark Andreessen a couple of weeks ago mocking the Pope because he said that AI companies should try and be ethical. That's one of the people who have this super PAC that's now going to be spending hundreds of millions of dollars to influence elections, influence AI regulation. And we can't, it's just not on. We can't stand for that. Now, I'm not American, right? I'm sitting across the pond from you guys. But for better or for worse, this technology primarily is being developed in your country. But it's still going to affect me. It's still going to affect my family. It's still going to affect my mates. And I really don't want to die. So stand up to this. Stick up for yourselves. This doesn't require any altruism. You do not stand to benefit from allowing AI companies to build uncontrollable superintelligence, right? No one does. Not even the people at the companies themselves. So this stupid, suicidal race needs to end. Politicians need to stand up, protect their constituents, and their constituents need to let them know that's what they want them to do. Every poll we've had shows that the public want to ban superintelligent AI. They want very strict regulations to ensure that AI is not causing all of the harms that we're already seeing and all of the future harms that the experts are warning us about. But it's still the case that maybe politicians don't feel like they can discuss it. Bernie Sanders has come out recently and he's taken on AI companies. He's saying, look, you're telling us that robotics and artificial intelligence are going to be able to replace all of these jobs. What jobs are going to be left for everyone to do? He's taken them on. He's recently had a conversation with Jeffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, and where they were discussing all of these kinds of risks. And so politicians are beginning to get it, but we need to keep our foot on the pedal. We need to keep our eye on the ball, and we can't let a handful of weirdos in Silicon Valley destroy our future. We can't let them buy out the US government. And that means you contacting your representative right now. There's a link in the description where you can go and find your representative if you live in the US, and you can tell them, I don't want this. I want you to stand up for common sense regulation that's going to protect me and my family. I want you to support the right of states to regulate this technology. And I want you to stand up to big tech. I want you to stand up to Silicon Valley. I want you to stand up for humanity, and I want you to stand up for yourself. You can say that to the politician, right? Their family will be affected as well. Contact your representative. Don't let big tech get away with this, and have a good weekend.